So, friends, tonight we're talking about kingdom marriage and how we should be applying the kingdom to our marriage.
Well, let's first clarify it, Lewis. So often we have to, people don't understand that a kingdom marriage most likely will not look like a worldly marriage.
Yeah.
You know, a worldly marriage is if I don't like something that I leave, or if I don't like something that I can tell you off, or it's in the kingdom, it works completely different. You know, if the word says that if someone takes your coat, give them your shirt too. If somebody is cruel to you, pray for them. Well, that applies to you and I, or to a marriage the same way. If my husband is not what I think maybe being fair, it doesn't say that I retaliate. It says love him. Love him more.
We recently had a lady who was going through a separation in her marriage spend some time with us, a few days actually with us. And she sent me a note after she had left saying how nice and refreshing it was to be with a couple who truly find love, happiness in all that they do. And you know something, friends, Penny and I weren't trying to do anything other than be who we are. And that's what we're trying to tell you.
Because I think what it is that even though there's things that maybe rub us the wrong way with each other at times, we always know that if we're a kingdom citizen and we step into the kingdom and the spirit realm of God, there's no room for me to be angry and retaliate and try to get even or mad about something. If I step into the kingdom, I'm instantly convicted of what I need to do, not what Lewis needs to do.
And the thing is, it's not about feeling right. It's about doing right.
Yeah. And by doing right, it feels right after.
Yeah. It's amazing how, if you are effective in your relationship, in your marriage, how others perceive it as something that isn't real. Because, you know, this lady, after leaving the note, I pondered on it thinking, but we didn't try, we didn't act, we didn't create something that wasn't real.
It's just become our life.
It's our lifestyle. But you know, the other thing that's important is it doesn't happen overnight, friends. This isn't something that you're able to just flick a switch and get a self-help book.
So I think what I would encourage you to do right now is get a pen and write these 5 points down, because these are crucial points. That in order to have an effective marriage, a marriage that's going to work, prosper, have the peace and harmony, the first thing you have to have is God in the center.
That's right.
Second thing is family. You have to prioritize your family. So you have God first in the center, then your family, then you have your work, then you have your church, and then the extracurricular. And so often people do not have these prioritized in the correct order, that there's a lot of issues, and it affects how their marriage, how their family are going to operate. So, Lewis, you just want to emphasize, number one, God.
Let's really explain this first. When we talk about prioritizing, many years ago, I felt that I should go to seminary school, and I was just a new believer, and I really thought that, you know, God was calling me. People even told me that I really should be a pastor. Now, I did become a pastor, but I didn't go to seminary. And there was a difference, because going to seminary would mean that I would have to leave my wife and son and go away for 2 years to become something that I may or may not was supposed to. Like, what I'm telling you is that bringing God into the center doesn't mean that you put everybody else aside. So, you know, Jesus got up early in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock. So my prayer time happens way before my wife even gets up. Me personally, I get up early in the morning and read the Word.
Yeah, let's just clarify that. So what Lewis was really trying to say there is that he did not have to go to seminary school to have God as the center of his life. And then becoming a pastor was down the way. But first, it's not about becoming a pastor in order for you to have God at the center and that you're going to be the right husband. It's about having God in the center of your life.
So when you make decisions, do you physically shut your eyes, pray to the Lord? I sit in business meetings where God is at the center of that meeting.
And if he's not, you bring him there.
I bring him there.
Yes.
And, I'm talking about really possessing that feeling in your life that God is first.
So in order to have effective, we have to really understand that God has to be first. And then secondly, let's talk about how your family and your work and your church and the extracurricular come in that.
So, as we said, God first, family second. Now, family, I come from a big family. My wife comes from a big family. Her mother just spent, 3 weeks with us. Family is my spouse first, and then my child or children, and then my extended family. And in doing that, I will make sure that God first, then my spouse. If you ask my son where he is in my life, and he's my only son, he would say he's third in my life. So understanding that, God first, then family.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important thing to understand, because I know there's a lot of women that say, my children are number one. And even by saying that statement, it's incorrect as a kingdom citizen, because God has to be number one and your spouse number two. If I lost my spouse, or if I had left my spouse, then yes, my child then would become the number two. But we really need to emphasize, ladies, I'm speaking to you here because so often I hear women say, I would do anything for my child. I believe that, and that's correct. We would do anything. But we can't make our child above our husband or above God. And if our children know their rightful place where they are, then they'll actually be at more peace than you realize. Our son loves the fact that he's number three. He loves the fact that God is first in my husband's eyes, and then me, and then him.
Yeah. And, third on that prioritized list is work. Work is very important because it brings us our staple. It gives us
meaning.
It gives us, our life. We without work, we would be isolated from the community. So it's important that you don't throw a Bible on the boss's desk and say you need you need the Lord.
A kingdom citizen can take the Lord wherever they go, and they can
That's
work
right.
in their workplace. And I think so often, though, with this prioritizing, there's a lot of men out there, and there's even women today that are making work higher than God, higher than their spouse, higher than their children, because their work, they think, is where they have identified their purpose, which they perhaps, I'm not saying they don't have a purpose there, but if we don't prioritize it correctly, then we're going to be out of order. And whenever we're out of order, we're out of the kingdom.
So reflecting God in your family, in your workplace is so important because people look at you. I used to say this in the church. Sometimes people don't come to your church because they see you in it. And what I mean by that is they see how you're living and they don't want to be part of that. So at your work, take God there. Let him be part of the center of your life. When we talk about prioritizing our personal life, church is very important. And, church meetings, being part of the church, being part of that church community is so important. I don't think you can grow a true Christian family without a church.
But I think we need to remember, too, that we are the church. So we need to have that prioritizing after our God, family, work, because wherever we are the church, and we are in all those.
Yeah, so you don't have to go to the church to find the word or to find peace and harmony.
But it's so good to be connected to a church family.
You need to, and what you also have to realize is that there are people there that need you, and
Absolutely.
That's important. The last one we'll touch on is extracurricular. We're talking about those things that you like to do, watching sports, maybe playing sports, maybe doing, personal things that don't really gratify the Lord. Wouldn't matter if they won or lost, but these extracurriculars may be important in your life.
And can bring fun, no doubt.
For sure. We always say, find things that you can do together. And even if, Penny and I don't have a lot of things we do together, but the time we spend when we're doing those extracurriculars activities are at the same time.
Right.
So that, if I want to go play a round of golf, then she'll have something to do at that time. She doesn't sit waiting for me. So effective marriages and families prioritize God, family, work, church, and extracurricular.